In this video, we're going to be looking at the CSS box model. The box model is one of those things where once you know it, it's really easy to understand. But if you're not aware of what it is, it can really cause problems when trying to fit elements onto a page. As an example, if we go over to our CSS and if we change our product width inside this product class here to say 210 pixels, if we save that, then if we reload the browser, we now only have two of these products fitting in our row. So now let's go back over to our CSS and investigate. So if we look at our product, we've set this to be 210 pixels wide. If we take a look above, we set this main section to be 680 pixels. So our three products down below come to 630 pixels in total. So far we are still within this 680 pixels wrapper for the main section. But then you may be correctly thinking we have some space around the products. We did add 5 pixels margin to all sides. This extra 5 pixels per side would then mean each product takes up 220 pixels each and a total of 660. But again, this is still within this 680 pixels main section. Padding is inside of the element, so you may think this is irrelevant. We did add 5 pixels of padding too, just down here. Well, in fact, it is actually included too. Let's go over to the browser developer tools and see how this looks. All browsers have their own version of developer tools. If you're not using Chrome, you'll be able to access the developer tools by looking in the menu, but I would recommend using Chrome for this case. All we need to do is right click and then go down to inspect. Once it pops up, we can click on the inspector icon in the top left hand corner. So click on this arrow there, and then we can hover over our product and then click the div with the class of product. So this allows us to see the HTML on the left hand side. So here we can see we've highlighted our first div with the class of product, and also the CSS which applies to this product on the right hand side. So there's our product div here with the border, the width, margin, padding, and the display type of inline block. If we now scroll down to the bottom of this CSS section, we can see a box. This image down here represents the box model. In the very middle, we have our element, which we know we've set to 210 pixels wide, as we see here. Then on top of this, we have 5 pixels of padding around each side. We have a border value of 1 pixel too. And then on the outside, we have 5 pixels of margin. So it's important to understand that all of these extra padding, border, and margin values are added to this element, making it bigger overall. We set the width of the product to be 210 pixels wide, but in reality, each product takes up a width of 232 pixels once we add on all these extras. This is why in the browser, all three of our products won't fit on the same line. There is a way to change this though. We can use a CSS property of box sizing. If we go back over to the product inside the CSS, then we can add the box sizing property and set this to be border box with a colon at the end. Setting this to border box will make sure the width we declare is the total width. So although we have based this demo on the width, all of this also applies when working with the height too. So that's one thing to bear in mind. So now with the box sizing set to border box, if we go over to the browser and then reload, and let's just shrink down these developer tools, we now see we have 3 products on each row. If we go back over to the developer tools, in fact we'll need to refresh first and then drag this back up. Still within our first product here, if we now scroll down to the very bottom to our box model, we can instantly see that the element in the center now has a value of 198 for this element width. So this has been reduced to accommodate the padding and also the border values too, to then equal 210 pixels. Then we still have this 5 pixels margin surrounding the outside, just like we did originally. So this is how the box model works. We either need to take into account any extra values such as border and padding and margin 2, or we can apply the CSS property of border box.